Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Appreciate the opportunity to say a few words, and always want to give my thanks to the chairs and ranking members for the hard work they do. As my colleagues have already pointed out, there are a number of deeply troubling aspects in this spending bill, and I'm disappointed we appear to be heading down the same path as last year, where the House work product is seemingly designed to make certain the bill will not garner bipartisan support. I have to note, after last year's reconciliation debacle, where my colleagues on the other side of the aisle granted massive tax breaks for billionaires and corporations while cutting almost $1 trillion in Medicaid and other domestic spending and adding over $4 trillion to the national debt, they're now proposing cutting enforcement at the IRS by $1.4 billion. As has been said before, as a reminder for everyone, funding for IRS enforcement does not increase the amount of taxes anyone owes. It simply ensures taxpayers follow existing law. A budget is a statement of priorities, and I'm deeply concerned with the priorities being exhibited here today by the majority, assisting wealthy taxpayers in evading their legal obligations. Mr. Chairman, I could continue for some time outlining additional concerns, but as a ranking member of the Committee on House Administration, I'd like to spend a few minutes talking about the importance of funding for our elections. The revolutionary idea upon which this country is built, its citizens choose to govern themselves. There are no kings, there are no monarchs, but the fulfillment of the promise of a vibrant democracy requires people to participate and to exercise the franchise. In 2024, nearly 90 million eligible voters did not vote in the presidential election. In response to this crisis, how have President Trump and his anti-voting allies reacted? By attempting to make it even more difficult to vote. They want bills like the SAVE Act, the Save America Act, and the MEGA Act, all of which would create further obstacles for voters and severely burden state and local election administrators as they strive to serve their communities. And I'm always impressed with Democrats and Republicans at the local level who see this as a sacred obligation and responsibility. President Trump, however, has issued illegal executive orders to block ballot access for millions of Americans, including just last month, attempting to eviscerate vote-by-mail programs in states across the country, though tens of millions of people vote annually this way. People around him have mused about deploying the military or law enforcement to intimidate voters or interfere with election administration. The Department of Homeland Security is not doing its duty to protect election-critical infrastructure. They have defunded and gutted the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, CISA, and its support for election administrators. Extraordinary at this time, and they failed to do their duty to protect our elections from attempted interference, foreign and domestic. Mr. Chairman, the president clearly wants to take over the upcoming midterm elections. In fact, as he often does, he said the quiet part out loud. His policies have failed to make the lives of American people better, and to avoid what he expects, and many others expect to be a harsh judgment in November, all that's left is to try to skew the rules of the game. It's in this environment that my colleagues have proposed only $15 million for election security grant funding for state and local election administrators. $15 million. In a country with an estimated voting age population of 244 million Americans, the Republican spending bill proposes spending 6 cents per voters on election administration and security. That's 0.13% of what was spent on just the first week of an unauthorized military incursion war in Iran. Mr. Chairman, over and over again, I hear from state and local election officials across the country, again, both Democrats and Republicans, those doing the work on the ground, that one of the most significant needs in election administration is robust and consistent funding. These public servants are on the front lines of upholding our democracy, ensuring our elections remain accessible, accurate, and transparent, and seeing to it that every eligible American has equitable access to the ballot and that their ballot is counted. Yet once again, I'm deeply disappointed by the majority's refusal to treat funding for our elections with the seriousness it demands, particularly in this environment of increased threats and intimidation, including just $15 million as a mere drop in the ocean compared to what is required to adequately support our state and local election officials. In my view, there is nothing more urgent in this moment than protecting American democracy. Voting is the foundation of our democracy. It's our responsibility to see that every eligible American can cast their ballot and every vote is counted. As we continue to work on these appropriation bills throughout the year, I urge my colleagues to give state and election officials the resources they need to do their job. And with that, I yield back, sir.